Welcome to CultureHUB TV. In every episode, we will bring you an eclectic mixture of discussion and entertainment from our guests all across Northern Ireland. Opening the show here at Sandino's Bar in Derry is spoken word performer, artist and writer Abby Oliveira.
The Trees of Potemkin Island, after the Grenfell Tower disaster. Am I gorgeous enough for you now? Look at how I wear this brand new dress. Does it not just scream elegance? Even in blackest charcoal black, am I still not business class? Can't you see through this side split? These sultry stairways to heaven smelted the hearts of clouds as they dreamt, scattered their ashes over the rose gardens of Kensington. Have I not stood up as straight as any national monument? Those sick with the woes of unsung ghosts who taught me the word for mercy in so many different tongues I choked to death. When will they declare the National Day of Mourning? Haven't thousands turned out to mourn? To cover this final unrest in place in bouquets like royalty? Doesn't the Horse Guards parade and King Felipe's visit look a vulgar ticker tape pageant next to this striking silhouette? Sight of human sacrifice, cenotaph to facades. Woe to those whose greatest sorrow is sore eyes, who could not bear to look today. They dare not look away from me. The iconic burning tower. The consequences of past actions cause great conflagrations. The trees of Potemkin Island bear poisonous fruit.
Hi Abby.
Oh, hi Stacey.
Welcome to CultureHUB.
Thank you for having me.
Great, you're very welcome anytime. Tell me a little bit about what you've just performed for us there.
Right, so that was a performance poem called The Trees of Potemkin Island, and it was written after the Grenfell Tower disaster that happened. And really what I'm doing in that poem is just imagining what the building speaking once it's a burnt and gutted out shell. And in terms of, like, a few people have asked me about the title choice, the Potemkin Island, the Trees of Potemkin Island. They're like, well, that's not even about trees. No, it's not about trees. Yeah, exactly. But the reason that I chose that as a title was because in situations like this, and many like them, there is a concerted effort made to draw your attention away from what you should be looking at. It's like, don't look at the burnt out gutted building, look at the trees, look at the trees, look at the nice things, you know. And in terms of a Potemkin Island, well, have you ever heard that term, a Potemkin village?
No, I haven't.
Well, if you see, you know, like in the likes of Alice in Wonderland, is it Alice in Wonderland where they're running ahead and they're painting the roses?
Yeah.
Right, well, that would be a classic Potemkin Island sort of act. It's when a facade of something is decorated to look in a certain way, to make a certain unpalatable truth appear more palatable or more pleasant than it is. Really, it was a little comment on the economic and social situation of Britain in the choice of that title. Yeah. Whether that was successful or not, who knows? Nobody has wanted to argue with me otherwise yet, but, you know, it could happen. That's always the risk that you run, isn't it?
And it's interesting that you took that position of speaking from the building's perspective.
I think that, yeah, I mean, in this case it did. To me, as a writer, it did. I think it was because the image that was, like, that image, I mean, how striking was that image? To have this huge building standing in the middle of London, this great symbol of, well, of how our lives are just not as important as the lives of rich people. Growing up in sort of working class Scotland around women who were very, very into, they were very superstitious and into ghost stories and all of that. Like, I was always surrounded by that and always had a belief that the walls of a building will hold on to strong emotion. and the thought of the things that that building must have heard and experienced, you know, throughout that whole experience just kept sticking in my head. It was horrific thoughts just going round in a circle in my head, you know. So I suppose, actually, in that respect, it was a little bit of an act to help my mind cope with that news, or to write it down, you know.
Yes.
I just think that if you've grown up in council or social housing your entire life, and if you remember all of those struggles and all of the drama around trying to get any home improvement done in the buildings, if you know a lot of friends, a lot of family who are still living in council accommodation, you can't help but somehow put your mind into that space and think that very easily could have been somebody that I know and love, you know? So I think from that point of view, that's what got me the most, you know. It could so easily be anyone of my family or my friends who are living in council accommodation or social housing. And I mean, how long then? If something like that did happen, I mean, would they ever get justice?
Yeah. The last time you were featured in the magazine, you were incredibly busy and you had a lot of things like emerging in the pipeline. What have you been doing since we last spoke to you?
Well, since I was in the magazine, had I shown my play at that point?
You were talking about the play that you were just starting to embark on, and it was a work in progress, and things were going on. So tell us about the play.
The play is still in progress. I think I have about half of it written now. It's at the halfway point. Let's hope it gets the full way point. Let's hope. So I showed it at the Cathedral Quarter Arts Festival in Belfast last year, just as a work in progress. Myself and a girl called Sarah Lyle, who were both part of that takeaway theatre project with Tinderbox. Just to gauge the audience's reaction and sort of try and figure out, was this going to work or not? But it went down really well. It was great, really encouraging. I was worried because, you know, the subject matter is so unwieldy. The subject matter is about a case of murder-suicide, basically, in Ireland. And about how a writer who is very loosely connected to the case sort of works through that inner psyche, you know. Yeah, so that's basically what it's about in a nutshell.
And how did you come up with that idea? What inspired that?
There was a relatively recent case in Ireland of a murder-suicide, the Alan Haw case, which happened there a few years ago. Was it last year or the year before? It was not long ago anyway. But that springboarded me into looking into other cases in Ireland, you know. So yeah, really the character in my play, the protagonist, she really struggles with trying to pick through all these arguments and counter-arguments and you know, what is the truth and what's exaggerated, what's, you know.
Well done for taking on such a challenging and taboo subject as well, and bringing it to light. So,
well, I just hope my own mental health doesn't suffer because of it, to be honest, but thanks very much.
Here's hoping, and I'm looking forward to seeing it somewhere in a theatre soon. So
thank you.
So that was the fantastic Abby Oliveira, and if you want to find out more about what Abby's doing and follow her progress, you can find out details of where to find her at the end of the show. Welcome to CultureHUB Magazine. You can find us online, in print, and with our own TV show. With each issue, we will bring you music, arts, entertainment, and thought-provoking topics, taking you on a cultural journey throughout Northern Ireland. Look out for our glossy, free, bi-monthly magazine distributed across Northern Ireland, and our monthly TV show on MBTV. CultureHUB, eclectic Northern Ireland for you. Our featured artist this month is Derry-based musician and filmmaker John Deery. Hi John.
Hi Stacy.
Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
So you're a musician and you're a filmmaker, as I said. Can you tell me a little bit about your background in music, how you got into music?
Yeah. I'm from a very musical family. Here in Derry, the McCafferty families, all my cousins and uncles and aunties and all of that. And my grandfather, James McCafferty, was a well-known pianist in the town. And he kind of brought me up with music, surrounded by music always. So some of that couldn't help but rub off, So I've always been surrounded by it, and started playing in bands, writing songs when I was about, 12, 13, something like that. Started playing guitar, and it just really captured me, and I've been making music ever since.
And your band is John Deery Heads?
That's right, yeah. The band we formed in 2010. I had been playing solo for a good 10 years before that sort of thing, and had a number of solo albums out. I played and toured and did all that, and then kind of got fed up playing just on my own all the time, so decided to form a band with my brother Matt, and so that's been going really well. That's 7 years on the bounce now, and we have 3 studio albums and a live album to our names, so it's going really well. Love it, love playing with the boys, and it's great.
How did you come up with the name John Deery and the Heads?
The Heads was, I think it was actually my ma or something came up with it. It was, we were all just bouncing ideas around about what could it be, and just the idea of a group of heads getting together and making music just kind of fitted, because it's exactly what the band was. It was just mates getting together to play some tunes, and I think it's just that. I love the name, that Derry thing. I like, it's just a bunch of heads making a few tunes, and sums the band up rightly. Head cases maybe, but heads will do.
And you've got a new album coming out now. It's out now, available.
It is. It's called Nothing Permanent Lasts, and we did a crowdfunder for it. So it was the first album that we've done using that platform. It was great for us. It allowed us just to raise funds to go into the studio properly and get the whole thing recorded. So it had been a few years in the making. Our last album, Horizon, was out in 2013, so it had been a long time coming, and we're over the moon with it. We think it's our best album yet. A lot of people seem to agree as well. So it's just, I think maybe that time to develop and mature each of the songs has been a real benefit to it. So.
Tell me about your new album. Tell me about the inspiration and the focus of this new album.
Well, the title of the new album is Nothing Permanent Lasts, and I think it's looking at exploring issues of time and things that we consider permanent, but on the bigger scheme of things, they really don't last at all, And I think it all started from a time I was in Australia, and I saw the stromatolites, they're called. They're like the original forms of life on the whole planet. They're like 4 billion years old, and it just sort of put a lot of stuff in perspective, and that's kind of been ticking over in my head for a number of years. And just that phrase, nothing permanent lasts, came out of it. So I started to explore that issue and look at how the things that we take as so serious in our own lives, they really don't count, and I do a lot of work with mental health and looking after your mental health, and all of that sort of folded in for me, where it was like, well, all the problems and all the issues that we think, are so important and so permanent to us, we really do have the option to change them for the better and to make improvements to our own lives, So I suppose that's all snowballed in under the theme of the album. But some songs you'll see are more personal, some are more general, and it's a nice mix of that.
Would you say that the album, when you talk of it from a mental health perspective, would you say that the album is almost like, it's like a therapy to somebody, or it's like an outreach to somebody to say, like, listen to these words if you're feeling dark or if you're feeling down, is it like kind of a help guide? It's not necessarily a depth of depression from yourself?
Well, I think with any art at all that anyone's involved in, the making of the art is nearly a form of therapy. The making of the art is the expression, and it's kind of, once you express your own thoughts and feelings in some sort of way like that, it helps you as an individual, as me as the songwriter. I mean, definitely it's a great vent, it's a great outlet. So it's a great outlet for the artist, for the individual making the art, but the hope is that other people are then able to relate to that And whether that's a lyric, whether that's a painting, whether that's a film, whatever it is, whatever particular art form, if it speaks to someone, then that's just a complete bonus, And I've had people in the past come up to me and have said, "Oh, look, I heard such and such a song, and it really helped me with how I was feeling, or it encouraged me to speak to someone about how I was feeling." That really is the best feeling in the world, hearing that coming back at you, because in any small way you're looking, going, "That's cool, I've made a difference to someone's life," which is awesome.
Yeah, and that's actually the whole mission, is to actually just be able to actually help somebody,
This is it.
with no self-gain whatsoever.
It just takes people to speak up about it, really, I think,
You also, not just a musician, but you're also a filmmaker as well, and you made your film Drop. That's based on suicide.
It is. It had, I do a number of different art forms. I'm a painter, photographer, filmmaker, musician. I do a whole pile of things, but I always compare it to a toolbox, creative toolbox. It's like, look, it's not a miracle if you can work a saw and a screwdriver and a hammer. It's just different tools for different jobs. So when I was looking at this mental health theme, and it's been a theme for my work for a number of years, the Six Strings and Stigma album came up at exactly the right time, gave me a chance to write a purpose-written song about mental health called One Silver Line. And off the back of that then, I was studying at the time. I was doing a master's, and the final project for that, I said, right, I'm going to make a film, because it just felt like the appropriate art form to make it in, and I had made films before, but this was it just came about at the right time. And the film Drop it's about a young man starting out at university, struggling with his mental health and thoughts of suicide, and it's just a short film, but it's about the sort of spiral that he goes through. But as with all of my work, with the songs, with anything else, there's a real message of hope there as well, a real message of positivity, change and hope that I want to get across in all of my work, Although it's heavy subject matter, I think the whole point of art is to illuminate that and show the positives and give people hope in a desperate situation.
Like, I'm assuming that you haven't suffered any mental health problems yourself personally to that extent. So what was it that made you focus so passionately on mental health?
Well, I have suffered greatly with my mental health over the years. Absolutely. It's daily battle for most people that I know, particularly creatives, But as well, I've lost a number of really dear friends and family members to suicide. So it's an issue that's actually affected me in my life as well. I've lost people, and I just think, that could have been changed. That could have been, like, how could you help that? So I suppose a lot of the creative outputs is an effort to try to provide something that might help someone someday. So
yeah, it's you've seen and you've witnessed so much, so it's kind of just to try and prevent or help or outreach to stop this happening again.
Yeah, and I think if you're doing creative work like that with the right intentions and a good heart behind it, do you know what I mean? Then it is art for art's sake, I suppose, in a way, because it's not that you're using it. You're not going out and handing it to people, but it's there, and if people find it, great, and if people find some use out of it, super. It's great.
Yeah, and you feel good for doing it. So.
Have to do something.
So, with you being a musician, with you being a filmmaker, an award-winning or festival filmmaker also, you also do a lot of other media-related kind of projects. What other things have you got going on?
I'm involved with the Nerve Centre. I teach the creative media course at the Nerve Centre, so that's everything from photography and Photoshop to filmmaking and stuff, and sound recording, a whole range of modules in there. But again, it's trying to pass on that through teaching. It's passing on that passion I have for all of the creative art forms, and I don't think people realise you can do them all. I don't think people realise how closely linked they are, that if you can take a photograph, you can make a film, because they're they're just one jump away from each other. So that's what I try to bring across to my students.
Yeah, everything connects. In with each other.
Everything connects, and I'm still working at it. I mean, I'm studying a PhD now at the minute at McGee as well, in cinematic arts to do with mental health as well. So looking through research as a way of using films as tools to reduce stigma and open up conversation about mental health as well. So it's all really important, and it's all, well, I think it's important, and yeah, it's just kind of become a big part of my life's work is talking about this stuff now.
Yeah, so, it's a big part of your life.
It is. It's kind of, it's just developed naturally. There's no intention behind it. It's just, I suppose, as I say, if you've lost people or if you feel passionate about something, then that passion drives you in every aspect. Yeah.
It feels right.
It does. It does.
You also have a project, Cottage Sessions.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. That came about through the Derry Creatives group. So Derry Creatives is just an open network of creative people in Derry that it was formed a year and a half ago now, and we've now got about over 1,200 members. And it's just a place for people to come and collaborate on different projects and just build stuff from the ground up. And so what happened was Blaine O'Donnell from the Inner City Trust came to the group and said, look, I've got the cottage, I'd love to do a music night. And he was put in touch with me, and I said, oh, I'd love to run a music night with you. But if we're doing that, I'd like to get it filmed, and I'd like to get an actual YouTube presence, a wee series up and going. And so I brought people in from the Nerve Centre Creative Media course and other places, and we all just collaborated on this project. We didn't wait around for funding, we didn't wait around for anything, we just cracked on and did it. And now we've wrapped on the first season of Cottage Sessions, and we have it's like over 15 artists all performing, all local, all original music, and it's up there now. CottageSessions.com is the website, and you can see all the performances on there. It's a brilliant thing. We're delighted with it, you know.
What do you feel is the most proudest thing that you do with Cottage Sessions? Like, what's the overriding kind of goal and aim for it?
I think it's because of that additional thing of having it filmed and on YouTube. It's the longevity of it, you know. It's the fact that those videos will be there next year, the year after that, and it's providing a platform for local Northwest, I suppose, or Northern Irish based music, and it gives a platform, puts it out to the world, and already there's like 100,000 views odds, maybe over that, on the YouTube videos, you know. So it's a super platform for people, and it's really, I'm particularly proud of it because it's all unfunded for the first season. Now that might change, that hopefully will change, we'll get some sponsorship or something behind it, but as far as the pet project that it was, we just grew it with a voluntary crew, up it came, and the rest's history. It's a brilliant resource now. So
you're basically given the creatives from all aspects, like from the performers to the people, the technical people behind the cameras and behind the scenes and the audio. You're giving them experience, you're giving them an opportunity to showcase their talents and kind of build their confidence.
Yeah, and I mean, I suppose it's an ethos thing as well. Like, we weren't doing this as some company asking people to work for free, or, you know, it wasn't that sort of approach at all. It was just, look, we're going to develop this unfunded, cool project for local music. Anyone wants involved, come on ahead. And people were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We had so many talented people doing the sound, doing the video editing, doing the whole bit. It was amazing, it really was.
Fair play to you.
That's great crack.
Yeah, it's a good initiative, definitely, for the industry and for the community as well. So.
Thank you, yeah, great.
So tell me a little bit about, you're going to play our song, you're going to play a song for us now.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the song that you're going to be playing for us.
So it's a track called Burden, and it's the second track on the new album. And I suppose it's one that is about being there for someone. It's about being a source of support and letting them know that you're there if they need to talk or if they need to get something off their chest. And just, I suppose, just being a friend for someone, just being there. And I think it's really important that we all look out for each other, because everyone goes through their own struggles, and there's a line in it, I'll take this terrible burden. So it's kind of just being there, lighten the load for someone, and that's what the song's about.
Sounds perfect.
Thank you.
Looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah, cheers.
Thank you very much for coming in and talking to us, John,
Thank
and
you, Stacey.
for the song that we're going to hear now as well.
Cheers. Thanks a million.
Thank you.
Going out tonight to leave it behind, 'cause we're locked, caught and bound. Just you and I, who wanted to fly, but we're stuck on the ground. I'll take this terrible burden you've got, take a fall for all your fear. I'll take this terrible burden you've got, and I'll make it disappear. The truth you found was getting you down, and your life seemed so strange. You got scared of the dark that weighs on your heart, but the light's about to change. I'll take this terrible burden you've got, take a fall for all your fear. I'll take this terrible burden you've got, and I'll make it disappear. They say can get in the way of your hopes, plans and dreams, but only you can control your mind and your soul and decide to make the change. Well, I'll take this terrible burden you've got, take a fall for all your fear. I'll take this terrible burden you've got, and I'll make it disappear. I'll take this terrible burden you've got, take a fall for all your fear. I'll take this terrible burden you've got, and I'll make it disappear. We're going out tonight to leave it behind, 'cause we're stuck on the ground.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show today. And of course, look out for the latest edition of the magazine in your area and also online.